Finally, we needed a movie like this. I know, it's not going to resonate with modern audiences, and people are going to walk out of the movie theater shaking their heads in confusion or plugging their nose from disgust. However, I feel like The Front Room will go down in history as a cult classic. Now, there are naysayers out there thinking that The Front Room cannot be in the same league as Midsommar or Get Out or even Psycho. But I'm here to tell you that The Front Room is a worthy contender. And like The Skeleton Key, it is an underrated gem. Why? Well, because the movie is all about power and the measures that people take to attain power. Let's face it, power brings out the worst in all of us. We are able to see this dynamic playing out on the screen between Belinda and Solange, two amazingly powerful women duking it out for the titlehood of motherhood. After all, only one queen can sit on the throne, and both contenders were willing to do whatever it took to get there. So who won the battle, you ask? Well, you need to watch this video as I break down the plot points and point out the hidden gems. So please stay tuned.
This house needs a mother.
So, a lot of people were confused about what this movie was about. Is it about living with terrible in-laws? Is it about grief and the mourning and loss of a child? Is it about religious fanatics? The answer to that question is simple. The Front Room is about power. It's not just about power, it's about what we as people are willing to do to attain it. After all, we've seen similar power structures play out in other movies, such as The Skeleton Key. In The Skeleton Key, Caroline and Violet were on opposite sides of the spectrum. Caroline was young, naive, and kind, while Violet was older, wiser, and cunning. Caroline wanted to save Ben, but in truth, she really wanted to save her soul. While, of course, Violet, the backwoods hoodoo witch, wanted to steal it. Although The Skeleton Key is more of a thriller with spine-tingling plot lines and a climax that pushed moviegoers to the edge of their seats, The Front Room is more of a slow burn. It lacks the visuals and the backstories of The Skeleton Key. However, both actors, Brandy and Catherine Hunter, were able to bring the storyline to life with amazing performances. In fact, the movie had some of the best dialogue that I've heard in a long time. Now, Solange and Belinda were adversaries, and in order for there to be conflict between them, they have to be completely different. They have to be different races with different perspectives and even different religious beliefs. More importantly, both characters need to be believers in a righteous cause. They have to be steadfast, stubborn, and unwilling to compromise their ideals and principles. These are the qualities that not only make them great contenders, but also adds a lot of drama porn to a movie and a plot piece.
I can't. Die.
Let's face it, we all love a little bit of drama porn, like in The Skeleton Key when Caroline was determined to rescue Ben from Violet. Well, Violet was just not willing to let that man go.
And Solange named the baby.
No. We named Lori.
She wants to replace me.
In The Front Room, Solange wanted to take over the house and be the supreme mother, while Belinda fought tooth and nail to resist her. This created a push-pull effect where both characters were fighting for dominance and power. Now, both The Skeleton Key and The Front Room tackle the concept of magic and belief. While Violet was harboring the soul of Mama Cecile, and she was also known as a backwoods witch who could both cure and maim people with her hoodoo spells, Solange would have been considered a Christian saint. She could lay her hands on people and cure them of any afflictions, known or unknown.
She thinks that the Holy Spirit possesses her and gives her power. She calls it her signs and wonders.
Solange preaches the power of God and the blessings that come from believing in Him and the miracles that He bestows upon His disciples. But sadly, Solange isn't just a believer, she is a zealot. She uses money as a tool to gain more power and to tighten her grip on Belinda's household.
You want to give us everything?
Every cent. And I already sold a house, so add that too.
In The Skeleton Key, we see this abuse of power as well. The Thorpes were greedy bankers who mistreated their staff and even lynched Papa Justify and Mama Cecile in their backyard. Their crimes went unreported and their misdeeds went unpunished until Papa Justify found a way to seek his own vengeance. We kind of see the same plot line unfolding in The Front Room. Now the scenes aren't as graphic as The Skeleton Key, but the dialogue is just as strong.
I'm talking about textbooks about white men that prop up white Christian colonialist history and ignore who they've raped and enslaved.
What are you going on about?
Belinda confronts Solange about the goddess symbol that the Christians stole, and the textbooks written by white men, and Solange's association with the Southern Confederacy.
No Christian stole it. It was a symbol of the goddess. See?
Look at us, teaching each other.
Solange doubles down on her beliefs. She is so blinded by power that she cannot feel any remorse for Belinda or people who are like her. However, this scene really resonated with me because we just don't talk about how religion has been used as a tool for colonization.
You can't treat him like any of the other niggas around here because he ain't like any of the other niggas around here. You got it?
You want I should treat him like white folks?
No.
And it isn't just about colonization. Power under the guise of religions has displaced millions of people on the African continent and all throughout Latin America. Power under the guise of religion has created thousands, if not millions, of impoverished people who don't have access to food, shelter, and clean water. We don't talk about how the missionaries, many of which were zealots themselves, moved in to give impoverished people basic resources that were originally stolen from them.
What would you say to my purchasing new furniture for you?
Oh, Solange, that's not...
If this house is to have a child, it must be properly furnished.
Sadly, these monetary gifts come with a hefty price. The recipient must pledge unyielding loyalty and forego their independence. In short, they need to submit and lose any real power that they have.
The name Lori is starting to grow on me.
Uh-oh. Her power is increasing.
We see this taking place when Solange pays off Belinda's mortgage, and again when Solange takes down Belinda's goddess statues and replaces them with figurines that are more to her liking. However, what is most off-putting to viewers is the blatant mistreatment and abuse of Belinda. Remember when I said that the Thorpes in The Skeleton Key mistreated their staff and swindled thousands of people out of their money? Well, in short, they shitted all over them. I know, it's gross. But I think the writers of The Front Room needed to be just a little bit graphic to drive this point home. Whenever you have huge disparities between the rich and the poor, between the powerful and the powerless, there is going to be some level of abuse. Why does this happen? Well, because power is a drug all in itself. And sadly, people get a sick pleasure out of making other people suffer.
Miss, I'm heavy double S, miss.
Solange, I gotta get you out of bed to clean you up.
Okay.
Violet wanted to scare Caroline and keep it alive so she could make them suffer. And Solange wanted to soil the bed and bite babies because she wanted to make her daughter-in-law suffer. With power struggles, the person seeking recognition and power feels the need to put the other person in their place. They feel like they need to belittle them, berate them, remind them of their status and statue. In short, they need to prey on their victims' weaknesses and deepest and darkest fears. Violet preyed on Caroline's guilt for leaving her father in his time of need. Solange preyed on Belinda's inability to provide a home for her husband and to properly nurse her baby. Both Caroline and Belinda were women stricken with doubt and grief. And in the Skeleton Key, mirrors were strictly forbidden until the very end. But in the front room, mirrors were everywhere. Why? Because in the Skeleton Key, Caroline's soul was slowly being stripped from her. Violet didn't give her any time or space to really reflect what was happening or what was going on. In the front room, however, Belinda was always seeing her reflection. She was able to look into her soul and realize that she had to do whatever it took to save it. And much like Mama Cecile and Papa justifying the Skeleton Key, she had to take matters into her own hands and seek her own vengeance. Towards the end of the movie, we see Belinda. She's glowing. She feels empowered. She's financially secure, happily married, joyfully pregnant, and ready to start a new job.
You know, I've never been better in my entire life. I feel like no one can hold me back.
Her goddess statues are back on the mantle because that's what she has become, a goddess with real power that cannot be forsaken. So what do you guys think about the front room? Was it gross and overrated, or do you think that the piece and the theme was just misunderstood by modern audiences? Please sound off in the comments below.